time we have defensive coordinator Zach Alley. Questions for Coach Alley, Greg?
Zach, start with an off-the-wall question. Thanksgiving's coming up. Favorite Thanksgiving foods and something you won't touch?
Ooh. I've never been big on the cranberry sauce. That's not for me as far as the food goes. But I'm a little different. You know, we don't have a lot of traditional Thanksgivings in this business, so I like barbecue on Thanksgiving, and not like grilling on the back. I'm talking like pulled pork, ribs. Those are kind of go-tos. I think for the players this year, I think the wife ordered fried chicken and some turkey and all that, so it'll be fun.
Question about Texas Tech. Obviously, a lot has been made about the money that they spent on their roster. But my question is about how they've chosen to spend it. I mean, if you look at what they've done, there's not a lot of big dollar guys, but they've spread it around on their D-line and their offensive line. You think people are going to study that and say, okay, this is what we're going to do moving forward? Because there have been some schools with big budgets that hadn't turned out well. But for them, I mean, they hit on a lot of guys. What do you see from when you study them?
Yeah, you know, I mean, obviously, it's a competitive advantage to be able to spend more money, you know, and then they've got that. So I would use my competitive advantage if I've got it. You know, I mean, the defensive line's obviously impressive. You know, you win games by shoring the trenches up, and you watch the NFL guys, who they play. They play quarterbacks, left tackles. They play defensive ends, pass rushers, and corners, because those guys affect the game more than anybody else, just in the ability to, you know, you can have the best offensive quarterback in the country, man. He can sling all over the yard, but if you can't get the pass off, it don't really matter. You know, so I think that they strategically try to shore up those positions to make it hard on people to be able to move the football. And, you know, I think it's obviously, you know, their formula has worked out for them, you know, this year. And it's certainly a different age in college football. But, you know, hey, I commend them for, you know, using the $100 million, whatever they got to spend on the roster.
Obviously, the margin of error is a lot greater when you got more money to invest, but it just seems like they've had a lot of hits.
Yeah, you know, I'm sure they've got some misses too. You just don't see them because they don't play. You know, I'm sure there's some of those guys in the building as well. But you know, I've just read different things. You know, things you see. Obviously, the process or strategy to how they were going to spend on who they went to get made a lot of sense. You know, captains, good players on bad teams, things where you could see character. Right. You know, within the players, and generally you're not going to miss as much if you can find a guy that was voted team captain. You know, he's probably going to come in and be a better player and a better person most of the time from a commitment standpoint.
Okay. What have you seen from Morton? He's been in and out this year, but what have you seen from him so far?
Sorry, say that again. I couldn't hear you.
Oh, what have you seen from Texas Tech's quarterback, Baron Morton? What have you seen from him? And just what have you seen?
Yeah, you know, I think he throws the ball really well. He tears apart zone coverage, finds the holes, finds the windows, and they do a great job of getting guys open schematically. You know, it'll be a competition to see who can go the fastest this weekend between our offense and their offense. So, you know, they're going to be tempo and stress you that way, make you get lined up fast. And, you know, I think he's in full command of the offense. I think he understands it. He knows where to go with the ball. And, I mean, he's clearly a tough kid. I think he's got either some kind of stress fracture or fracture in his leg or something. He's playing through it, and I mean, you know, you can't make anything higher up than having guts, you know, and that dude's obviously got guts and he plays like it.
Linebacker, I know you're obviously studying their offense, but as a defensive coordinator, linebacker Jacob Rodriguez up for some pretty major awards. Do you think it's attainable or possible for a defensive-only player to be a realistic Heisman candidate in today's football?
I think that when Ndamukong Suh didn't win it that year, and he had more like tackles for loss than like half the teams in college football himself, I'm not sure anybody can win it again as an only defensive player, because that was the most impressive season by a defensive player I may have ever seen. I think Jacob Rodriguez is amazing. Probably should win the Butkus and Lombardi and all that, but I think the Heisman's tough. Like, you look at the Heisman voting, and it's like all quarterbacks. You know, it's a quarterback award nowadays, and then occasionally you get a freak like a Travis Hunter, or even the kid from Boise last year that's, I mean, second all-time greatest running back in history of college football, and he didn't win the award. You know, so I don't know. I think it's tough for a defensive-only player to win the Heisman, but I think there's some other benchmarks as far as national awards that are maybe more relevant to defensive guys.
Obviously, during the bye week, you and Rich both talked about using that week to a lot of evaluation of even the current roster. How do you feel like that evaluation process went to this point? Anything you can give us on any positions that, you know, you want to focus on in the off season, what your mentality is after that evaluation week?
Yeah, and the first thing is you realize how many guys we're going to lose. I mean, just by the seniors alone. I mean, we might have to have them run on the field with the introductions this week if we want to kick off in time. I think there's like 41 guys or something like that got to come out and be recognized, which, that's awesome. It's good to have that kind of opportunity to show them, to be there, be with their families, make it a big deal. That's the greatest honor in football is to, be recognized as a senior and be voted a captain. All of our guys have been a captain at some point this year. So, a lot of turnover because of that, just naturally, that's a lot of spots to replace going right out the door. So, we've had some, success in recent days in high school recruiting. We're going to have a big high school class because we want to build from the draft. It's not reasonable to take 71 portal guys a year. That was an abnormality this year. That was weird. And it just makes it harder because, you always talk about you recruit a high school kid, you recruit him for maybe 2 years, 3 years before you sign him. His mom, he's seen you, his dad, he's been in the home. They've been over to your house on the OV. They've been all this time you spend with them, and you do a portal visit, and he gets here at 8 o'clock in the morning, and at 3 o'clock he says yes, no, and you go to the next one. And that's just kind of the speed dating process of things. And so, hopefully we can build from the high school ranks and create a foundation, and then all you're doing with the portals, plugging holes. And obviously we've got a lot we've got to sign, and we'll probably know more of our strategy after signing day, depending on how many high school guys we can get in the boat.
That sounds like Texas Tech uses their running backs or two lead backs kind of interchangeably. What do you see from those two? Are they kind of the same type of backs? Do they do one thing differently versus another?
Yeah, number 8, I think he starts. I apologize, I'm not as good on the names. I know the numbers really well. But number 8, my analyst compared him to Ray Rice. If that makes you feel better. Didn't make me feel better. But anyway, he's really patient. He's a great visual runner. He can find holes and lets blocks develop, and is kind of a one-cut downhill, can run you over and outrun you too. Type of guy. And then 20, the other back they use, he's kind of the more of the scat back, get him in space, outside run game, those type of things. And he gets one step and he's gone every time, and he's got one-step speed. And so those guys, they don't have a fear of using either of them the same way, but they are slightly different, I think, in their skill sets.
Continuing that, how do they use those guys in the passing game so effectively?
Yeah, they find ways to create one-on-ones. They get to empty a lot of different ways, whether it's releasing the back out of the backfield, lining up in it, and that makes the reads for the quarterback simpler, as far as where to go with the ball, those type of ideas. So, they find ways to rub route and pick route for them, get them in space, throw a lot of screens to their playmakers and get the ball in their hands. So, I think it's a little bit play design, and then, a little bit the quarterback's pretty good at knowing where to go with the ball. And so, if you don't cover that guy to the flat, he's going to take that every time and get 5-7 yards out of it.
You know the answer to this. I know the answer to this, but senior day, obviously, it's about the seniors and completing the year, but there is the start of next year. Does that play at all in your thought process? Maybe not in the game, but just about how you go about it?
Not really, no. I've been telling the guys all week, and I believe this. You walk down the hallway here, and there's a mural of beating Clemson. I was on the Clemson team that year, 70-24 or whatever it was. In the Orange Bowl, and like Geno Smith up there with the picture and Tavon Austin and all. And I've told the guys all week, man. You win this one, regardless of the year. Your name goes on the wall. Your picture goes up in the building somewhere because it's a top 10 win, and you don't even get the opportunity to do that very often. To beat them at your place and be that highly ranked. So our mindset is that we got an opportunity to make a statement. You come back, so 20 years from now, you come back with your kids, you're like, man, I was on that team right there. That's me, and that's kind of a big deal. And I think our guys have bought into that. And so we want to play really well, and do everything we can to be successful.
You signed up for chaos, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be fine. I ain't going to hold no bullets back, so we'll see what we can get.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach.
Thanks, guys.